Good day, everyone. Follow me. Let me explain to you what physical quantities are all about. Of course, today we are going to discuss physics. So let's go. All right, today we want to talk about physical quantities. Physical quantities. All right, here we are talking about those things that you can measure using your instrument. Those things like temperature. You make use of what? Thermometer to measure it. Those things like weight, you use your spring balance to measure it. Those things like your mass, you use your beam balance to measure it. Your time, you use your stopwatch. The speed, you use a speedometer. All these quantities that you can measure with what? Some apparatus or some instruments, we refer to them as what? Physical quantities. Remember, we have area, we have volume. You can measure volume um, of a cylinder using measuring cylinder. You can also use pipettes, burettes in the laboratory to measure. You can measure length using meter rule. You can even use measuring tape. You can use a micrometer, screw gauge. You can use vernier caliper, depending on what you are measuring. All right. All these, they are what we refer to as what? Physical what? Quantities. In physics, we have them. Um, they can be classified into two. These physical quantities we are talking about, they can be classified into two. All right. We have the ones that we call fundamental. We have the fundamental quantities, and we have quantities, and we have what? The one we call derived quantities. Derived quantities. Can you see that? Derived quantities. All right. So when we talk about fundamental quantities, what do we mean by fundamental quantities? Fundamental, just like the name goes, they are the originators. These quantities, they are not dependent on any other quantities. They are on their own. Every other quantity is derived from them. All right. So we have some examples here. We have e.g. the kind of quantity we are talking about here. We have length. This length is a fundamental quantity. Why? Length does not depend on any other quantity. Another one we have is we have temperature. Temperature is there. Can you see that? Temperature is a fundamental quantity. Why? Because it does not depend on any other quantity. Another one we have is mass. We have mass. We have what again? We have time. Time is there. We have current. Current of electricity. Current of electricity. Can you see that? We have amount of substance is still here, and some other ones. All right. So but when you are talking about derived quantities simply means, just like the name goes, derived, they were gotten from somewhere, and they were gotten from where? Fundamental quantities. That means that they are dependent on what? Fundamental quantities. They were derived from somewhere. So from origin, they were not existing. They were derived from this. All right. So when you hear derived quantities, like I said, they are gotten from where? Other fundamental quantities, just like the name goes, derived. They were derived from here. They are dependent on fundamental quantities. We have example. We have e.g. We have speed. Speed is here. We have what? We have volume. Volume is here. We have what again? We have area. Can you see that? We have density. Density is here. We have what? We have weight. Weight is here. We have what again? We have work. Work is here. Even energy is here. We have energy. Then we have even resistance. Even resistance is here. Resistance is here. And what else again? We have acceleration. We have acceleration. Acceleration is here. Can you see that? All these plus more, they are under these derived quantities. Remember what I said? All these ones, they were gotten from here. That means that they were derived from here. Either you multiply, for example, volume. Volume is length times length times length. When you multiply length times length, you get this one. Or area, L times L, you get this one. Or density. Density is what? Mass over volume. Mass over volume will give you density. Can you see that? Then weight is a force, which means it is what? It is mass times acceleration. So when you combine this, you will get this. Maybe by multiplying them, or by dividing them, or by raising them to power, or by, this kind of manipulation will give you this. That's why they are called what? Derived quantities. But these ones, they are not gotten from anywhere. They are on their own. All right, so they are what we refer to as what? Fundamental quantities and what? Derived quantities. All right, let's talk about units this time around. Units of these fundamental quantities and units of what? Derived quantities. For you to express any quantity, you must attach what? Unit. That's why when you talk about temperature of something, you don't say that temperature is 50 and keep quiet. No, 50 is just the magnitude. All right, so you must say what? The unit. You may say 50 Kelvin. Can you see that? Or you may say that the mass is 20. No, 20 what? That's the next question somebody has to what? Ask you. You have to say what? 20 kg. Speed is what? 50. 50 what? Meter per second or kilometer per hour, and so on and so forth. You notice that what? All these units, they are what? Very, very important. All right, so units of the fundamental quantities, we call them fundamental units. Units of fundamental quantities, we call them fundamental units. While units of derived quantities, we call them what? We call them derived units. All right, let us explain them. They are not difficult. Just pay adequate attention. I believe that you will get that. All right, so when you are talking about units, units can be classified into two, just like the way quantities we are classified into two. We have units like this. Units can be classified into two. You have what? Fundamental units. Can you see that? Fundamental units. Then you have what? You have derived units. Can you see it? You have derived units like this. All right, so when you talk about fundamental units, they are what? Units of the fundamental quantities. They are the units of what? Fundamental quantities. Then when you talk about derived units, they are the units of what? Derived quantities. All right, so if you are asked to explain what fundamental unit is all about, just say that it is a unit of what? A fundamental quantity. When you say derived unit, it's a unit of what? A derived quantity. Is it clear? All right, so let us give some examples. We have like this. We have our meter. Meter is a fundamental unit. It is unit of what? Unit of length. Can you see it? Length is a fundamental quantity, but meter is the unit of that length. Can you see that? Then another one we have is we have kilogram. Kilogram, that is unit of what? Mass. Can you see? Unit of a fundamental quantity. Is it clear? That is how we do it. Next one we have is what? We have second. Can you see it? Second. Second is unit of what? It's unit of time. Can you see it? All right. Next one we have is ampere. We have ampere like this. Ampere. Ampere is like this. It's unit of what? Current. Current of electricity. Can you see that? All right. Next one we have Kelvin. We have Kelvin. Kelvin is unit of what? Temperature. Can you see that? Temperature. All right. Then we have another one we call mole. Mole. Mole is the unit of what? Amount of substance. Amount of substance. Amount of substance. So all these ones and more, they are regarded as what? Fundamental units. Remember what I said? Fundamental units are units of what? Fundamental quantities. All right, when it comes to this derived units, we have example like this. We have meter per second. We have meter per second like this. Meter per second. Can you see meter per second? That is the combined meter, the unit of length. Can you see it? With the time, unit of time, which is second. Can you see it? So that's why I said derived units, they are gotten from where? From fundamental units. Just the way derived quantities are gotten from fundamental quantities. Derived units, they are also gotten from where? Fundamental quantities. And also they are dependent on what? Fundamental quantities, because that is where they are gotten from. Is it clear? All right, so as you can see, meter per second, that means that they picked this one, meter. They also picked what? That of time. Can you see that? All right, and this is unit of what? We have speed, unit of speed. All right, next one we have kilogram, kilogram, kilogram per meter cube. Kilogram per meter cube. This is unit of what? Density. Can you see that? Unit of what? Density. Can you see it? Unit of density. All right, we have another one we call meter per second square. Meter per second square. Can you see it? Per second, second square. This is unit of what? Acceleration. This unit of acceleration. Next one we have is a meter cube. Meter cube is like this. Meter cube like this. Meter cube, and this is unit of what? Volume. Can you see that? Unit of what? Volume. All right, we have again, we have meter square. Meter square. This is unit of what? Area. Can you see that? So all these are derived units, and they were gotten from where? From the fundamental units. All right, let us discuss the difference between the two. Let's start with fundamental quantities and what? Derived quantities.